Vidjeli ste film Valentin, sin Evrope, italijanskog reditelja Antonija Martina. Antonio je sa nama. Antonio, thank you for joining us.
Thank you too. Thank you too for inviting me.
And thank you for this story. This is something that often stays out of the reach of our daily lives. How did you meet Valentin? He was just a young boy then, and that was your first documentary.
Yes, Gara de Nord Copy per Strada in 2005 was my first documentary, and I did without any money and without any equipment. I remember I had just a little camera, which was very experimental in that time, and I wanted to focus myself on these little guys which were coming illegally in Italy in that time. I want to remember you that in 2005, Romania was not in Europe. So we, in Italy, we were witness the presence of this little child in Italy, which were robbing or which were organized themselves in the park. So I started to talk with them in Italy, and I discovered this very sad situation which was still going in Romania.
Were you surprised by the number of abandoned children on the streets and with the way the authorities treated the problem? Did they see it as a problem at all?
I have to say that in that time, the number was huge. I don't want now to go deeper in the reason why Romania was experimenting this phenomenon, but I want to remember you that the Ceausescu policy, the political approach in the society was to push women to make children. As much as they can, they must do children. Every children you have, more money and help from government, Ceausescu government you received. So a lot of people were doing children, and these children, when the communist government fall down, they found themselves on the street. And they were a lot, especially in 2005, the Gara de Nord station was full. In that time, there was more corruption, I have to say, than before. The authorities didn't treat it like a problem, and they were ignored. I mean, of course, the psychological and anthropological and sociological situation of Romania was very particular, very special at that time, because the Ceausescu dictatorship was really a very strong dictatorship and with a big and strong manipulation on the people, especially on that manipulation, create a new way, a new perspective of life. So the country after the communist dictatorship was still reborning. So the problem were a lot, and of course the children were not on the street, were not considered like a big problem. But I have to say that with after 15 years, when I come back in Romania, when I come back in the same place, Gara de Nord, the situation today is totally different. The problem is not solved, but you can't see so many children on the street like before.
Mm-hmm. With the second time you two met, you and Valentin, we got a chance to see all the ghosts from the past he keeps carrying within himself. What was important for you to show?
Of course, it was everything I was discovering by Valentin in the second time was a big surprise. The adopting, the struggling of this guy to survive. What I wanted to show in the movie, I want to show the few possibilities for these people which were abused in the childhood to change really their life. It's almost impossible to change their condition, because the abuse were so deep and so strong that I mean, it's very difficult for someone to forget and to go forward. In the movie, I wanted to show these big forces, the one from the past, and which is very negative, and the one from the present, which is more positive and more ambitious to to grow and to change something in his life.
Yes, he's trying, but even now, when he is a grown-up, seems like he doesn't really have a homeland and place where he belongs to. Like he never really stopped being an orphan.
Yes, I want to say that this is a European responsibility. Let's say that many countries, when they enter in Europe, they lose their identity and they were and get more confused about it. The situation of Romania and the Romanian people is special on it because they left a wrong identity, which was the communist one, but they didn't find another strong identity in Europe. And this is not the only Romania which is in this situation. Valentin grew up, just became an adult just in the explosion of globalization, where in general, globally in the world, the identity is going to be more fragile, something more liquid, to use a Bauman term, you know. So for Valentin, which was coming from a very dark past, it was very difficult to find a place in Europe, to find a place like human being, to find a place like worker, but also to find a place like father, to find the right possibilities to build his family and go on. Of course, Valentin is a very special guy. His personality is strongly affected by his past. So, of course, it's comprehensible that if you are not so strong in the personality and the society, the system give not you a possibility to identify something, your position in the society, it's very, very, you know, I use again, liquid.
How is he today? Did he manage to reunite with his wife and daughter?
Yes, today I want to say that he's waiting another child. The wife is again pregnant. But of course, as I said before, the life for Valentin is not easy. Everything is very can become very complicated. Of course, we are talking about guys which their childhood were destroyed. And we are talking about a guy which was just trying to survive from the 6 years to 11 years, you know. So we are talking about something very, very strong and something very deep in his life. So now let's say that he's struggling and he's still trying to find a place. After COVID, everything became more and more complicated. And if we see a strong crisis in a country like England or also in Germany, in France, can you imagine in a young country like Romania? Now the situation is very, and I know that now he's in Romania.
Mm-hmm. Antonio, in all your films, you tell a story through the conditions in which people live. And during your work, you have visited our region too. One of your movies was filmed in Mostar. Other one is about air pollution. It's called Pančevo Mrtav Grad. And it was interesting for me because even today, several cities, both in Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, are from time to time among the most polluted cities in the world. Authorities doesn't offer any solutions. And yet, a movie director from Italy was here back in 2007, I think, and made a story about it. How do you choose your stories?
Look, I base on all my work on the concept of synchronicities. I mean, I don't believe in coincidence. I believe in some story which come to me. At that time, I wanted to go to. I was very young. The first movies. and I wanted to explore what was remaining about the war in Yugoslavia. And I started from Bosnia, but after Bosnia, I went in Pančevo, and I discovered something else out of the rhetoric of the Balkan Wars. A lot of international interest, a lot of economic interest, a lot of pushing on the institution in Serbia to be involved in this and this and this. And this is what is resulting now from the war in Serbia, for example, the bombing, the last bombing in 1999. You can understand after you go in Pančevo that the war is still there, another kind of war, but it is still there because the consequences of some spatial bombing or some spatial weapons, which uranium weapons or this kind of very precise bombing on the refinery of Pančevo just to create an environment, an environmental crisis. So the people are still there and still paying the price of the war and still suffering. So they are still in a little war. So I can say that I went in Pančevo, I went in Serbia without any plan that time, without any idea. I just wanted to feel and to approach the story which was more interesting for me. So everything came to me. I didn't look so much. And since the first time in Pančevo, I met the right people. I met a journalist from a local newspaper, which they were fighting a lot against the pollutions. So I can say that my attitude to choose the story is a mix between my studies and the destiny, what the life will propose me. And sometimes after the movie, you understand that you didn't do this movie just for a coincidence. You know, there is some kind of invisible line.
Antonio, thank you so much for your time, and I hope we will see you in our region again.
Thank you very much.